Chefs of Reddit, what is the worst and/or stupidest accident you've seen in a kitchen? 1. I worked at a high-end luxury ski resort. We had a program where young adults flew in from other countries to gain experience running a hotel or a specific part of it. It was a great idea in theory, but since parents had to pay to fly them to our remote ski town, it ended up being a bunch of lazy rich kids. I worked in the kitchen. One girl decided she didn't want to work that day and came up with a genius plan. She wrapped her arm in plastic wrap to protect it, then quickly dipped her arm into the fryer, intending to melt the plastic and get sent home to recover, aka shop and ski. Yeah, it did not go according to plan. The plastic melted onto her skin. I can't remember how long she was in the hospital, but she needed a skin graft and went home afterwards. 2. Grossest story I've seen was when I worked in a shady part of town. A restaurant down the street got shut down because they found a rat trapped in the frying oil, and it had been there for a while. They hadn't changed the oil in 2 months. 3. Someone attempted to stick their hands into an 80-quart Hobart floor mixer before it stopped moving. Their arm got twisted around a couple of times, multiple breaks. It was sickening. 4. As an 18-year-old assembly chef, I had to tackle my pancake cook before he dumped a 5-gallon barrel of water on a grease fire. I'd asked him to take care of it because I was 8 tickets deep. 5. About 7 or 8 years ago, I was working the line when someone knocked an aerosol can of Vaseline into the fryer, and nobody noticed. After about 5 minutes, the can heated up and exploded, sending 5 gallons of 350-degree oil into the air and then raining it down onto me. 2 months in the hospital and 10 hours of skin graft surgery later, I finally got to go home from that shift. 6. Not a chef, but I worked as a server. One day, the kitchen manager decided to use some heavy-duty drain cleaner on one of our floor drains. Somehow it backed up and spilled out without anyone noticing. The first one to walk into that part of the kitchen was one of our younger servers, probably about 16 or 17. She slipped and fell into the chemicals. Almost immediately, she felt something was wrong, but our manager was an a-hole, so she kept working through the irritation. About 30 minutes later, she ran to the bathroom. Our head chef noticed she'd been gone for over 10 minutes and went to yell at her. Instead, they found her in the bathroom, bawling her eyes out with severe chemical burns on her back and legs. They rushed her to the hospital. It was the only time in 10 years that the kitchen fully shut down. She got a big payout because it permanently scarred her, but none of us stayed there long after that. 7. The assistant kitchen manager was demonstrating how to safely use a mandolin on my first day. While showing us the correct technique, they sliced the tip of their thumb off. They returned from the emergency room about 3 hours later to finish the shift like a boss. 8. A friend of mine is a bartender at a mid to high-end restaurant. One day, a worker was cleaning the vents over the deep fryers while standing on a baking sheet propped over the grease. The sheet slipped, and his foot went straight into the deep fryer. He suffered third-degree burns over his entire foot and part of his leg. I asked my friend how the place wasn't sued into oblivion. Turns out, the worker was undocumented. It never got reported, and the worker didn't tattle because his brothers still worked there.